Hello, my freshmen. And here we are. We're going to finish up Romeo and Juliet. This is Act 5. In this video, we're going to read through Act 5, Scene 1 and Act 5, Scene 2. They're both relatively short. Make sure that you're annotating along with me. So I would have your text in two sides of this, one side of the screen, and have the video in the other side of the screen. And we're making all of our annotations. So we are in Mantua now. So in Scene 1, we're over in Mantua, and we're going to write a little comment here that let's try that again. All right. Don't know if you noticed, but we haven't seen Romeo for an entire act. So Romeo wasn't in Act 4 at all because he got banished at the end of Act 3 and he went to Mantua and he's been hanging out in Mantua ever since. And so this is the first time we've seen Romeo in an entire act. So here's Romeo. If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand. My bosom lord sits lightly in his throne, and all this day an unaccustomed spirit lifts me above the ground with cheerful thoughts. So he says, if my dreams are some sort of sign, I think today is going to be awesome. And I'm going to get some joyful news, and I feel just so happy today because of my dreams. Maybe not so much, Romeo. I dreamt my lady came and found me dead, strange dream that gives a dead man leave to think, and breathed such life with kisses in my lips that I revived and was an emperor. All right, so we're going to highlight this. This is one of the famous lines from Romeo and Juliet. And Romeo has a dream. And so this is what we call Romeo's vision. Now, Romeo only has one vision. Juliet has multiple visions. So he dreams that Juliet found him dead and brought him back to life with kisses. So this is more major foreshadowing. So I'm going to write here, foreshadowing. Now, the problem with this is the last little bit, right? Like the beginning of this vision, his lady came and found him dead. That's going to happen. And then breathe such life with kisses. She is going to kiss his lips, but not breathe life into them. And he's not going to revive and become an emperor, right? That part of the vision is not true, but the other parts are, right? And so fate is making him have these visions, and he's seeing things that are going to happen in the future. Ah, me, how sweet is love itself possessed, but when love's shadows are so rich in joy. So now, enter Balthazar, and he's booted, which means he's wearing boots. So, news from Verona. How now, Balthazar? Dost thou bring me letters from the friar? How does my lady? Is my father well? How fares my Juliet? That I ask again, for nothing can be ill if she be well. So we're going to make another comment box here. So in these lines right here, we find out that Romeo hasn't received any letters from Friar Lawrence. Uh-oh. Something has happened. So, because Balthazar is here and Romeo says, do you bring me letters from the friar? He hasn't received any letters from Friar Lawrence. So something happened, something bad. Balthazar, then she is well and nothing can be ill. Her body sleeps in Capel's monument, and her immortal part with angel lives. I saw her laid low in her kindred's vault, and presently took post to tell it you. Oh, pardon me for bringing these ill news, since you did leave it for my office, sir. So Balthazar saw the funeral for Juliet, and he decided, oh man, I got to go tell Romeo. So he just takes off and runs to Mantua to tell Romeo that Juliet is dead and has been buried in the Capulet monument. Is it even so? Then I defy you, stars. Thou knowest my lodging. Get me ink and paper and hire post horses. I will hence tonight. All right, so we're going to highlight this. Then I defy you, stars. And next to this, oh, we did it in a comment. We got to mark it up. Sorry. All right. Then I defy you, stars. Then next to this in a text box, he is talking about fate. And let's go ahead and do a comment right here. And Romeo is cursing fate. He's raising his hand to the sky. I defy you, stars. He knows that the stars have been the thing that has been controlling him. And he says, I'm finally going to take my life within my own hands and I'm going to do something. I'm going to make a choice. But Romeo isn't actually going to make a choice because fate and destiny has already told us that he is going to do this already, right? He's going to go and he's going to kill himself. And he thinks that he's making that choice, but he really isn't. I do beseech you, sir, have patience. Your looks are pale and wild and do import some misadventure. Tush, thou art deceived. Leave me and do the thing I bid thee do. Hast thou no letters to me from the friar? No, my good lord, no matter. Get thee gone and hire those horses. I will be with thee straight. Well, Juliet, I will lie with thee tonight. All right, we're going to highlight that in orange. That is one of those lines, right? And Romeo here says that he's preparing to kill himself. Romeo is preparing to kill himself. If he says, I'm going to lie with a dead person tonight, that means I'm going to kill myself. Let's see for means. O mischief, thou art swift to enter into the thoughts of desperate men. I do remember an apothecary, and hereabouts he dwells, which late I noted in tattered weeds, with overwhelming brows, culling of simples, meager were his looks, sharp misery had worn him to the bones, and in his needy shop a tortoise hung, an alligator stuffed in other skins of ill-shaped fishes, and about his shelves a beggarly account of empty boxes, green earthen pots, bladders and musty seeds, remnants of packthread and old cakes of roses, were thinly scattered to make up a show. Noting this penury, to myself I said, and if a man did need a poison now whose sale is present death in Mantua, here lives a caitiff wretch would sell it him. Oh, this same thought didn't but forerun my need, and this same needy man must sell it me. As I remember, this should be the house. Being holiday, the beggar's shop is shut. All right, so he remembers that there's an apothecary here, and he thinks that this guy will sell him some poison. So we are going to mark it up right here in orange. And then let's make a comment right here that says, Romeo goes to the apothecary to buy poison. Okay, so he knocks. What ho, apothecary? And the apothecary comes out. Who calls so loud? Come hither, man. I see that thou art poor. Here, hold, there's 40 ducats. Let me have a dram of poison, such soon speeding gear as will disperse itself through all the veins, that the life-weary taker may fall dead, and that the trunk may be discharged of breath as violently as hasty powder fired doth hurry from the fatal cannon's womb. So he says, give me a poison that will kill me. Such mortal drugs I have, but Mantua's law is death to any he that utters them. All right, we're going to mark it up. So the apothecary says, yeah, I got poison, but it's against the law to sell poison in Mantua. So we're going to make a comment. And Romeo talked about that earlier, right? It's against the law in Mantua to sell poison. So the apothecary says, I can do it, but I don't want to get in trouble, right? Art thou so bare and full of wretchedness and fearest to die? Famine is in thy cheek, need and oppression starveth in thine eyes. Contempt and beggary hangs upon thy back. The world is not thy friend, nor the world's law. The world affords no law to make thee rich. Then be not poor, but break it, and take this. So he's offering him money, and he says, you are poor. You need to sell me this poison so that you can continue to live. My poverty, but not my will, consents. I pay thy poverty and not thy will. Then put this in any liquid thing you will and drink it off. And if you had the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight. So we got our poison. And just remember, this isn't real poison. This is just a vial with colored water in it. Don't think that I actually have poison. So we're going to highlight this. And we're going to make a comment box. So this is a very strong poison. You put 1 drop in liquid, and if you had the strength of 20 men, it would kill you right away. So now, Romeo is going to drink the poison straight. From the bottle, and he only has the strength of 1 man. All right, so the apothecary says you put a drop of this, right? 1 little drop into something. So like you take your water, you put 1 little drop in there, and then it distills and you drink it. And if you had the strength of 20 men, if you were super strong, which isn't really a thing, you can't have the strength of 20 men. But if you did, it would kill you right away. Well, Romeo's not going to do that. Romeo's going to take this vial and just drink it straight. He's not going to distill it in anything else. There's thy gold, worse poison to men's souls, doing more murders in this loathsome world than these poor compounds that thou mayest not sell. I sell thee poison, thou hast sold me none. Farewell, buy food and get thyself in flesh. Come, cordial. He says this, come, cordial and not poison. Go with me to Juliet's grave, for there must I use thee. All right, so Romeo now has a poison. He's on his way to Verona, and he's going to go kill himself. All right, so we are going to do some after reading highlighting, so make sure you do that before you move on to scene 2. There isn't any past against the future, but there is the other 2, futility of fighting fate and light and dark. So go and highlight those in these lines and find our motifs. And then let's scroll down and let's start looking at scene 2. This one is super short, and it has Friar Lawrence. So we're going to see what's going on with Friar Lawrence and enter Friar John. Remember, this is that other friar. Holy Franciscan Friar, Brother Ho. Friar Lawrence comes out. This same should be the voice of Friar John. Welcome from Mantua. What says Romeo? Or if his mind be writ, give me his letter. Going to find a barefoot brother out, one of our order to associate me here in the city, visiting the sick, and finding him, the searchers of the town, suspecting that we both were in a house where the infectious pestilence did reign, sealed up the doors and would not let us forth, so that my speed to Mantua there was stayed. Oh, no. So we're going to highlight this whole thing in orange. And this is what has happened. We're going to make a comment box so that we can write. So Romeo didn't get the message, right? And the reason is that Friar John went to go find another friar to accompany him to Mantua. He didn't want to walk by himself. And as he was doing that, people that take care of the plague, the Black Plague in this town, found the 2 friars and said, we think that you were in a house that had the Black Plague, so now you're quarantined. And so they got locked up and they were not allowed to leave. So this is why Friar John couldn't deliver the message. He was visiting people, and the health officials thought that the house John and another friar had visited was infected with the plague. And so he was quarantined. He couldn't get anyone to take the letter either because they were worried about the plague. We're going to find that second part out later, but he's locked up in this house. He cannot leave. He can't get anyone to take the letter for him. Who bear my letter then to Romeo? I could not send it. Here it is again, nor get a messenger to bring it thee. So fearful were they of infection. So he says that I couldn't send it. No one would take it to Mantua, and I couldn't get it to you, Friar Lawrence, because no one would take it from me. They were scared of the Black Death. Unhappy fortune! By my brotherhood, the letter was not nice, but full of charge of dear import, and the neglecting it may do much danger. Friar John, go hence, get me an iron crow, and bring it straight unto my cell. So we're going to underline here, unhappy fortune. And in a text box, we are going to write fate. And then we're going to go back over here to this, and we're going to make a comment box. This is why this is all happening. Because fate wills it so, right? It's not because anyone's making any choices. They're trying to make choices, but fate keeps saying, nope, no choices for you. You all have to be in trouble, and Romeo and Juliet have to die. He says, get me an iron crow. An iron crow is a crowbar, right? And so he's going to go to Juliet's, to the Capulet tomb, and going to open it and get Juliet. Brother, I'll go and bring it thee. Now must I to the monument alone. Within 3 hours will fair Juliet wake, and she will beshrew me much that Romeo hath had no notice of these accidents. But I will write again to Mantua, and keep her at my cell till Romeo come. Poor living corse, till closed in a dead man's tomb. So let's mark up this as well. So he says, Juliet's going to wake in 3 hours, and I'm going to go and get her and bring her to the church. She can stay in my room until I can get Romeo here. And I'm going to write again to Mantua. So that's the new plan, because all the plans are messing up. So Juliet is going to wake up soon. Lawrence will write to Romeo again, and then go to the tomb to be there when Juliet wakes up. He will keep her in his cell, his room in the church, until Romeo can come and take her away to Mantua. So, not the best plan, but, he's doing what he can. All right, so go ahead and highlight for our motifs. Once again, no past against the future, but there is futility of fighting fate and light and dark. We have one more scene in Romeo and Juliet, and then we're all done. So go ahead and make those annotations. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in our last scene.